Welcome everybody. Thanks for joining in today. I'm Dr. Group with Global Healing Center, and today I'm going to be covering toxins around the home and outside of the home. You know, early on in the 1900s, all the way up to the 1940s, a lot of times doctors would actually come to your house. And when I was studying natural medicine and when we had our cancer clinic available in 1998 and before we got shut down, I studied all of those doctors in the past because a lot of them did have the answers. It's unfortunate that the American Medical Association ended up burning all the books they could find. And it's very hard to find even some of those old books from these doctors that knew how important cleansing and detoxification was and the root cause of all disease, which is an accumulation of chemicals and toxins in the body, and how you were exposed to these different chemicals and toxins. I do want to say we will be giving away 3 bottles of Allertrex today. Allertrex is our superior lung respiratory health cleansing product. It's amazing considering the astronomical amount of asthma, especially in children, and respiratory issues that are going on, and that's one of the reasons I formulated it years ago. So for 3 people that like and share this video, we will be doing a random choosing, and I'll be announcing those winners at the end of today's video session. So knowing what the root cause of disease is and knowing about all these toxins, when we had our clinic, one of the things I wanted to do was do the same thing that those guys did back in the day. And this is what every single doctor should do. It's really sad that doctors only spend about 7 to 8 minutes with their patients these days. How are you going to find out what the root cause of the problem is with anybody if you only spend 7 minutes with them? It just does not make sense. First thing I would do was sit down with that individual for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and go through everything. Their diet, their job, their stress levels, what they're exposed to. I can tell you almost 100% of the time, I could pinpoint the exact thing that was causing that individual's migraines, gut issues, heart disease, diabetes, cancer. It doesn't matter what you're suffering from out there. The situation that's causing your problem is most likely in your home, or it could be in your work environment too. So I would go to each individual patient's home and I would start and walk through their home and go outdoors and see and follow them and ask them what they did all day long and determine what they're exposed to on a daily basis, what their pets are exposed to, what their children are exposed to, and come up with natural solutions to, not only do you need to detox and cleanse your body, but everybody needs to detox and cleanse their home as well. And if you can, you should detox your office. So this series that I'm going to be talking about, I might not get it all done today, but it's identifying the toxins in your kitchen and what to do about it, identifying the toxins in your bedroom and what to do about it, identifying the toxins in your bathrooms and knowing what to do about it, identifying the toxins in your living room and knowing what to do about it, and identifying the toxins outside of your house and knowing natural solutions on what to do about that as well. Very important. This is where you live, and this is where you're exposed to most disease-causing toxins. So I don't know if I'm going to get to all of those today, but we'll take it step by step. I could probably talk for 3 hours on each one of them because that's how bad it was when I was going into these individuals' homes and looking and seeing just mold and stuff everywhere. And a lot of these things will overlap. You know, you have chemical cleaning products that could be used in every room. So I'm going to just try to focus on some of the things that I think are important for each individual room. And as you know, I always like to include studies. I'm really big on facts about things. So if you see me reading these studies, I want to make sure I get them right, because I don't want these individuals coming back and saying, you quoted the study the wrong way or anything like that. So we'll start with toxins in the kitchen. Now, the kitchen to me is a sacred place. We've lost that, though, because no one is cooking anymore. Or if they are, they're throwing something in the microwave oven. This is a huge problem for our situation, because anything that you're going to get cooked in any restaurant or delivered to your house, the majority of it is not going to be organic. Yes, we do have some organic restaurants now, which is great. We need more of them. But when you look at the kitchen, your kitchen is what feeds you. Your kitchen is responsible for your health. It should be. We really should go back to the times where we prepare our own food, because even when you prepare your own food, you put your energy into it. And the food is alive. And it takes your time. So you have this connection. As a matter of fact, people have found and studies have shown that just preparing food reduces your stress levels, puts you in a parasympathetic state instead of a sympathetic state. And yet kitchens are some of the most toxic places that we find. And not only the food, which I'm not really going to be getting into the food so much, because we could talk all day about that, more or less what's going on inside your kitchen and why your kitchen can be so toxic. And the first thing that I like to talk about in the kitchen is, what do you see a lot of, or what do you use a lot of in the kitchen? And that's water. If you're going to be boiling something, if you're going to be washing your food, if you look at most kitchens and you see the kids and everybody come into the kitchen, the water's always on. So water is contaminated. Tap water is contaminated. First thing that I recommend people do in their kitchen is clean up the water, because you don't want to cook, you don't want to wash your vegetables in water, and you don't want your kids and you and everybody else and your refrigerator and your freezer making the ice with contaminated water. Fluoride is more toxic than lead, actually, and is only slightly less poisonous than arsenic. These are just some of the notes that I have down here that I wanted to read for you guys. This is very interesting, because although federal law requires that prescription drugs be approved as safe and effective by the FDA has never approved fluoride supplements for the prevention of tooth decay. In fact, the only fluoride supplements the FDA has reviewed have been rejected. So with fluoridation, we're adding to the water a prescription strength dose of a drug that has never been approved by the FDA. Fluoride is extremely toxic. It calcifies the pineal gland. It's a halogen that wreaks havoc on the thyroid gland. Fluoride, chlorine, bromine. So if you have water that has fluoride, prescription drug residue in it, chlorine, arsenic, and a bunch of other things in it, obviously one of the first things you want to address in the kitchen is your water. Recently, hexavalent chromium, or chromium-6, has been detected in tap water all over the nation. And that's actually contaminating the water supply of more than 200 million Americans. What we really need and want is clean air, clean food, and clean water. That's what keeps our self-healing mechanism strong. So that's the three things that we really need to look at. And in the kitchen, and I'll talk about the bedroom and the bathroom and all that later, the bathroom is also a really important area to have clean water in. But the kitchen, number one, you don't want to be, even if you have organic food and you haven't done anything about your water and you're cooking a soup, for example, and you fill the pot up with water, you're just contaminating all of your organic food just because the water is contaminated. An alarming study published in the American Journal of Public Health estimates a 95% risk of developing cancer from regular consumption of chlorinated tap water. you know, so many people I know are also going out to restaurants and eating all the time, and it's really sad. It's a social thing, you know, to go out and to eat. So if you go out and eat, just try to find an organic restaurant, and you can ask them if they have. Here in Houston, they actually have restaurants that have water filtration systems in the restaurant, and a lot of the nicer restaurants will have that right now. The National Resources Defense Council estimates as many as 56 million people in the 25 states reviewed by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency have been drinking water with unsafe levels of arsenic. Arsenic is the #1 cancer-causing agent. You know, it's not rocket science to understand why our healthcare system in America is the worst it can be, because no one is addressing the root cause of the problems. The root cause of the problems are all the chemicals in the water and the air and all the chemicals in the food that are out there. And until we address the root cause of the problem, we're still going to have people getting sick. And that's why I've devoted my life, and many others have devoted their life, to getting this information out there so you can understand and you can cross-check me on all these facts and say, wait a second, it's not like the EPA doesn't know about this, okay? These are the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency did this study. I mean, these are facts. They're all done by Harvard and Stanford and, you know, all of these major universities in our own government. But yet nothing's being done about it, or it's not in the mainstream news. You're not going to see this stuff blasted all over the news every night. Why is that? Well, because of the lobbyists, and because half of the people that work at these chemical agencies are also involved in the government. I mean, you know, it's we the people. That's how we create the change. And I wanted to talk about some other things in the kitchen as well. For example, most people have coffee machines in their kitchen. And a study came out saying that 70% of the world's coffee supply is contaminated with pesticides and chemicals. It's estimated that just 1 cup of coffee contains more than 2,000 chemicals, which may create gastrointestinal irritants and may also contain cancer-causing agents. Look, I drink coffee, and the situation with coffee is that most of it is heavily sprayed with pesticides, insecticides, and all different types of fungicides and chemicals. Tip number 2 for today: make sure your coffee machine is clean, okay? Because a lot of times you can get bacteria and fungus and all that stuff up inside. Make sure that you use purified water whenever you make your coffee, or distilled water. And make sure that you use certified organic coffee, okay? Next thing in the kitchen, and this is more likely in the refrigerator, and I didn't want to go too far into the foods, but I think it's important to talk about the damaging effects of aspartame and artificial sweeteners, because a lot of people have artificial sweeteners in their cabinets in their kitchen. They use it to cook with, they use it in their tea, they use it in their coffee, and believe it or not, most homes that I went into had a refrigerator full of diet drinks. I want you to know that aspartame is one of the most toxic substances known to man. There was a study published in the Journal of the American Geriatric Society that showed increasing diet soda intake is directly linked to greater abdominal obesity in adults 65 years of age and older. When aspartame is digested, it yields 10% methanol, which is wood alcohol. Okay? That's what it breaks down to in your body. The wood alcohol is distributed throughout the body, including the brain, the muscle, the fat, and the nervous tissue. It's then metabolized to formaldehyde, which enters the cells and binds to the proteins and DNA. It actually goes into the proteins and the DNA. The National Headache Foundation in Chicago cites that aspartame can trigger migraine headaches. 30 million Americans suffer from migraine headaches. All migraine headaches is something is triggered by a chemical, a phthalate, aspartame, artificial colors. It's just an allergen that your body reacts to. Also, another thing you're going to find, I found in most kitchens, was a lot of high fructose corn syrup. You know, like I said, I could go through kitchen cabinets, and that can be a whole nother show. But there's a couple things I wanted to mention, especially high fructose corn syrup, because it's everywhere in most people's kitchens, and that's going to be in soft drinks, regular types of drinks, just in ketchup, for example, condiments. I mean, practically everything these days has high fructose corn syrup in it, which is made from genetically modified corn and is extremely toxic to the body, the brain, the nervous system, the gut health. So go through your kitchen, look at all of the ingredients on every single product in your pantry, in your refrigerator. If it says high fructose corn syrup on it, get rid of it. Get rid of it. And next time, when you go shopping for those condiments, get them at an organic food store that does not contain high fructose corn syrup. Same with artificial sweeteners. Go through everything in your kitchen, your cabinet, your refrigerator. If you see sucralose, if you see aspartame, if you see saccharin, you know, any of those, just off the top of my head, you want to make sure are anything with the word artificial in it. Okay? Anything in your kitchen with the artificial sweetener, artificial color, red dye number 6, blue dye, yellow dye, all of that stuff needs to go. Again, while I'm on the subject, MSG as well, natural flavors, and you know, any of those. Everyone should be able to read the labels. Kids should have classes in school at an early age on how to properly read a label, because all of those chemicals, all of those artificial things are toxins to your body. They activate your immune system. They are excitotoxins. They depress your function. They depress your self-healing mechanism. They make you sick. Metals. We find a lot of metals in the kitchen. You know, I start looking at pots and pans. Most people have aluminum. They have Teflon-coated pots and pans, which produce toxic chemicals. So the next area in the kitchen you want to look at is, what are you using to cook your food with? Now we have copper-plated, we have non-toxic cookware, ceramic-coated cookware. So really take a close look at reducing, just get rid of all of your toxic cookware and get new cookware. You know, put it on your Christmas list, your birthday list, whatever. All of these things need to be looked at and cleaned up, because it's just a little bit here, and a little bit here, and a little bit here, and a little bit here. It all adds up. For example, with aluminum, there's so much aluminum in the kitchen. I find aluminum all over the place in the kitchen. Aluminum utensils, aluminum foil. You know, a lot of food comes wrapped in aluminum or in aluminum packaging, aluminum pots and pans. So aluminum is very toxic to the body, and most people that we tested had high aluminum concentrations in their body. The Department of Neurology and Psychiatry at St. Louis University said that aluminum may cause liver toxicity and lead to degenerative symptoms, including Alzheimer's, dementia. Aluminum is directly linked to a lot of the mental problems that we're seeing here. Not only aluminum, but mercury, other heavy metals, excitotoxins like we talked about, pesticide residue, herbicide residue. University of California, Irvine's Department of Medicine reported that aluminum causes inflammation in the brain. I mean, look, there's hundreds of studies that I could pull up on aluminum toxicity. These are just a couple. The next thing that I wanted to address, besides the toxic cookware, was plastics in the kitchen. People are so used to storing their food in plastic containers like this. A lot of microwave food comes in plastic containers. Not only do you have what I call toxic phthalates, which are fragrances and plasticizers that make plastic flexible, but you also have BPA, BPS, all these other different derivatives now that everybody knows about BPA. Plastics are bad. I mean, plastics are known cancer-causing agents. And a lot of people have plastics in all their cupboards, all their foods packaged in there, as well as canned food. This gold area in this canned food is lined with BPA. Okay? Even organic foods sometimes can contain BPA linings. So my advice to you is go through and replace all of the plastic containers in your kitchen with silicone or glass or Pyrex. And that way you're eliminating that, because they found even microwaving food in a plastic container, the chemicals leach from the plastic into the food, which can cause toxicity, heavy toxicity, and contaminate your food. Aside from the fact that microwave food alone is just a complete toxic slew of chemicals and radiated food particles. So everything in plastic, it can be overwhelming, but you don't have to do this all at once. There are actually canned foods now that are contained in BPA-free containers. So the thing is, there are solutions to everything. And you have the situation over here and then the solution over here. So go through your kitchen slowly. Next time, start eliminating all the plastics, the aluminum, the cookware, all that stuff, and start replacing it with the non-toxic things and hopefully you'll be cooking more and more. It's good to try to, and sit down with your family and eat and spend time together. A long time ago, that was a social event where the whole family would talk about their day, take some deep breaths before you eat, say a prayer, relax, get your body in that parasympathetic state. And, that's when your body, you especially want to be having a good time at dinner and breakfast whenever you can with your family. Those are those vital times that have been lost because of our let's go fast society that we live in today. And by the way, in the kitchen, when you're eating, you definitely don't want to have computers around, the TV going, cell phones everywhere either, because I'm going to be talking about electromagnetic radiation throughout the house as well. And I'm going to usually talk about that in the bedroom, because people end up sleeping with their laptops on their bed, and that's a whole nother show that we're going to have. But it also applies to the kitchen. Try to not have a lot of electromagnetic frequency, harmful EMF stuff in the kitchen, because already blender emits harmful electromagnetic frequencies. Your toaster emits harmful electromagnetic frequencies. The microwave does. So what you want to do is just kind of stand about 2 feet away from those appliances. Especially the older appliances are going to be the ones that emit the strongest harmful EMFs. And you can go online and type in EMFs from toaster and EMFs from all your equipment, your kitchen equipment, and you can pull it up. It's common knowledge. But the solution to that is newer appliances emit far less EMFs in the kitchen. So you might want to upgrade those if you can over time. Just to let you know that plastics and contamination from plastics affects fertility, your breast health if you're a woman, reproductive cancers, cause obesity, diabetes, early puberty in children. So those are some of the things that you want to look at. Another thing that we found in kitchens is the granite countertops everywhere. Some of them emit toxic radon gas. So you might want to, just check some of the older homes, so even some of the newer homes. You might want to get a radon detector, because you definitely don't want to be breathing that. I know a lot of the mobile homes out there have really high formaldehyde levels, and a lot of people get sick in that, and in new homes, because if you're recently remodeling or you're repainting everything in there, you can have a lot of VOCs, volatile organic compounds, in the kitchen. So those are some of the things that you're going to want to look at in your kitchen, and some of the things that you might want to change or upgrade. One other thing I'd like to talk about in the kitchen right now is the dishwasher. most people don't realize that the dishwasher can be a very toxic place. As a matter of fact, I was a study done years ago where they went around to different houses and tested fungus levels, and they found that I think it was close to 80% of the dishwashers had fungus and mold or some sort of organism living, when you close the dishwasher right there on that little rubber strip. So you want to make sure your dishwasher is clean, and not only that, you want to use a non-toxic dishwashing liquid. Most of the dishwashing liquids are toxic, and it leaves a film on your plates. So make sure that the next time you go to the store, you get a non-toxic dishwashing liquid, because that you don't want that film on your plates whenever you're eating food, and then that gets on the food. One more thing as far as the kitchen goes, kitchens hopefully are cleaned pretty regularly. So what type of cleaning supplies? You would be amazed at what I've found under the kitchen sink in people's homes. I mean, chemicals strong enough to where a couple drops would kill a kid or a baby. Some of the most toxic chemicals in the home are going to be found in the kitchen and in the bathroom, believe it or not. So go underneath your sink, look at all of the different types of cleaning supplies that you have in your kitchen. Start slowly using non-toxic, organic cleaning supplies to clean out your refrigerator, to clean the oven. Oven cleaners are one of the most toxic chemicals as well. Just make sure that you wipe down all the counters, everything using non-toxic cleaning supplies. So that is pretty much everything that I have. I mean, we could go on a lot longer for toxins in the kitchen. Everybody's kitchen is different. Everybody cooks different meals at different times. So what I wanted to do now is pretty much wrap this up and let everybody know thanks for tuning in. I do want to announce the winners, and because these are going about 20-25 minutes long in length, I'm going to continue these and follow up with the toxins in all the other parts of the house and outside the house, and let everybody know what they can do to clean that up as well. So hopefully you're going to be going home, you're going to be taking a hard look at your kitchen, all the appliances in your kitchen, and just look around. You can watch and see where your pet lays down. Usually the pet will go to one of the cleanest spots in the kitchen. Sometimes the laundry room is attached to the kitchen, so you can look at that as well. As far as the water is concerned, one of the things I didn't talk about is that there are solutions. You can either get a whole house water filtration system, or you can get an under-sink water filtration system, or you can even get you can use the 5-gallon water, you can get a distillation system where you can distill your own water, so there are solutions for that. And we'll try to post some of those as well in the area below, so you can have a good idea of what the good water filtration systems are that you should get. If you can afford it, I always recommend going with a whole house system, but if not, the first place that I recommend that you get clean water is in your kitchen. Second place, in where you're going to be taking baths or showers. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you again soon.